All right, linear inequalities. Linear inequality is the same to a linear equation, just like a regular inequality is similar to a regular inequality. The difference between a linear inequality and a linear equation is a linear inequality has multiple solutions, whereas a linear equation had just one. Our essential question: explain why we use a dashed or solid line when graphing linear equations. All right, sorry, that picture wasn't supposed to be on the screen. First thing we want to do is look at y is less than x plus 6, and we want to know, is 1 comma 6 a solution to this inequality? So the first step is we're going to plug in our points. So we have y is 6, which is less than x is 1 plus 6. And then we solve to see if true. So 1 plus 6 is 7. And bring down my 6. Is 6 less than 7? Yes, it is true. So then we'd say, yes, 1, 6 is a solution to y less than x plus 6. All right, let's talk about graphing the linear inequalities. If I have this problem, so this problem is asking us to graph this inequality. So we have 3 steps when it comes to graphing an inequality. Our 3 steps are going to be solve the inequality for y, put it in slope-intercept form, just like we did with a linear equation. We're going to graph the boundary line using either a solid line for the greater than or equal to signs, and then a dashed line for the greater than or less than symbols. This is just like when we used a solid dot and an open dot. And then step 3, we're going to shade the half plane, okay, the graph, the half of the graph, above the line if it's a greater than symbol, or below the line if it's a less than symbol, meaning all the stuff less than the line, so we'd shade that, or all the stuff above the line. So let's start with this number right here, this problem. We have 2x plus y is greater than negative 2. So step 1, we're going to solve the inequality for y, meaning put it in y equals mx form. So y equals mx plus b, that's your slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So I have 2x plus y is greater than negative 2, so I need to move my 2x to the other side so that I can get y by itself. So let's change my color here. If I've got 2x plus y is greater than negative 2, and I need to move my 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And then I'll have y is greater than negative 2x minus 2. All I did was plug in the 2x right there. Now it's in y equals, there's my m, x minus 2, so there's my b. There's b, and there's m. With those numbers, I can then graph. So I'm going to start with the negative 2. That's my y-intercept. So I'm going to put a dot right there at negative 2 where it crosses the y-axis. Then in slope says it's negative 2. That's my movement. So negative 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. It's going to be a negative slope. So my slope is going to go in a downward direction like this. My line doesn't look like that. I know I did it wrong. So that means I'm going to go down 2 over 1. Oop, I didn't go down 2. Down 2 over 1. Oh, by chance, I'm going to be making a positive slope. Look at that. That means I did it wrong. That's where you need to check yourself. Always look at your slope. If you're not sure which way to go, draw your dots, draw your line. If it doesn't come out to the right slope, then you know you did it the wrong way. So I need to go down to right 1. And I can go up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. Now I have my line. Now it says to graph the boundary line. Use a solid line if it's a greater than, equal to. Use a dashed line if it's just greater than or less than. Well, I don't have an equal to symbol, so I'm just going to do a dashed line like that. Okay, you may have to erase some of your dots if they get too big. Okay, and you get your dashed line. Then, once you have your dashed line, if it's a greater than symbol like we have, it says to shade above the line. So above the line would be up here on top of the line. So I'm going to shade, shade, shade. It's all the numbers that would be greater than the line. If you're not sure if it's above or below, because on this one it's kind of hard. Which is above, which is below? It's really more left or right if you ask me. Well, you want to look for the numbers that are bigger than your line. Well, my line is here. The bigger numbers are on my positive ones. Okay, so those are bigger, so that's why I shade on that side. Get my shading down. And it doesn't have to be solid, just shade it a little bit. Okay? So those are your 3 steps for shading. Let's do another one. What if I have, let's do y, oops, get my marker, y is greater than or equal to 3 over 2x plus 3. Now our steps said step 1, solve the inequality for y in slope-intercept form. It's already in slope-intercept form, so I don't have to do that. So now I just have to grab some graph paper and draw my axis grids. There's my y-axis. There's my x-axis. And then I get my y-intercept is going to be at 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then my movement is up 3 over 2 because my rise is on top, run is on the bottom. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. Okay, so there's my line. Now I used a solid line because in this case I had an equal to symbol. So I use a solid line. It says y is greater than, so I'm going to shade above the line. Well, in this case, above the line is where my y's are greater. Okay, my y's are greater. I'm going to shade above the line. There we are. And that's how you graph. Now the next type of question you might be asked to do is already given the graph, how do you know what the inequality was? That's similar to if you're given a line writing the equation. So if I have this problem, I want to write the inequality. Well, the first thing I already know is it's a solid line. So I know it's either going to be, it's either going to be a greater than equal to or less than equal to. Well, then I look, oh look, they've shaded above the line. So that means it's going to be a greater than symbol. So there we go. Just by looking at it, I already know my symbol. I know it also has to be in y is greater than or equal to mx plus b format. So I'm going to leave my y, I'm going to leave my symbol, and I'm going to leave my x. Now I just have to find out b and m. Well, b is where it crosses the y-axis. So we go over here to our graph and we see it crosses the y-axis at -2. So I'm going to write in -2. Then I have to figure out my slope. Well, there's a point there. There's a point there, there's a point there, there's a point there, and there's a point there. So I got some options. Pick 2 points and count the rise and the run between them. So I'm going to pick this one right here. I'm at -2. I'm going to go up 1, then I'm going to go over 1, 2. Let's see if it's the same. Up 1, over 1, 2. This one went down 1, over 1, 2. Down 1, over 1, 2. So that means my slope is going to be 2 over 1. And it is a positive slope, so it's a positive answer. So in proper notation, this would be y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 2. So your steps in this process would be to 1, identify your symbol based on the line and shading. 2, determine the y-intercept. And 3, count the slope.